If you've been following along here or on my other platforms, you know that I'm big on non-restrictive approaches to endometriosis symptom management. That being said, I can also completely understand the comfort that may follow from hearing that removing a certain food may result in symptom reduction, especially when you're living with debilitating and uncomfortable symptoms day in and day out. Remove food, less pain. It's a tempting approach to try, for sure. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about some foods you should remove or limit and why. I'm also going to talk about some of the typical no-no foods that you would often hear or read about, and who should consider removing these from their diet. And hint, it's not everybody. If you haven't already, please like this video, share it with a friend, and please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Okay, so let's get right into it. The first food I would suggest avoiding as somebody with endometriosis is charred meats. AGEs, which stands for advanced glycation end products, are inflammatory, unstable, DNA-damaging molecules that are naturally present in uncooked animal-derived foods, but cooking results in the formation of new AGEs. Endometriosis, as we know, is a chronic inflammatory condition. So one of the approaches to improving symptoms involves reducing inflammation through diet and lifestyle. One approach is to avoid charred meats or to marinate your meats in an acidic solution for less age formation. Using low heat, high moisture cooking methods when preparing animal proteins can also help boost the accessibility of nutrients from plant foods, but also reduces age formation from animal proteins. The next food to avoid is foods fortified with synthetic B vitamins. Your favorite almond, oat, or coconut milk is probably fortified with synthetic B vitamins. If you have a supplemental bottle or packaged food next to you, have a look for the following terms, specifically pyridoxine HCl, folic acid, or cyanocobalamin. These are synthetic forms of vitamin B6, folate, and B12. Studies show that 60% of people with endometriosis carry the MTHFR gene mutation. This gene mutation makes it difficult to convert synthetic forms of B vitamins into active forms that your body uses for things like generating energy, eliminating estrogen from your body via the liver, and preventing homeocysteine buildup. Homeocysteine is an amino acid made from the breakdown of another amino acid called methionine. It's a product of the methylation cycle, which is a natural process occurring in the body and results in the removal of estrogen, conversion of serotonin to melatonin, and the removal of heavy metals like arsenic, among other things. Poor methylation complicated by synthetic B vitamins can also result in infertility, failed ART cycles like IVF, and high levels of inflammation in the body. If you have an MTHFR gene mutation, you must avoid synthetic B vitamins, and this includes synthetic B vitamins in fortified foods and poor quality supplements. Even if you're supplementing active B vitamins in a supplement form, if you're getting synthetic forms from the diet, they will block up receptors, which the active forms will be unable to access. So you'll basically be purchasing these expensive supplements only for them to really not be doing very much for you in the body. You can test for the MTHFR gene mutation with something like the AOR My Blueprint test or the genetic swap from 3x4 Genetics if you want to confirm you have it, because really you only need to be avoiding synthetic B vitamins if you have this mutation. Okay, the next food is alcohol. I used to have a much more fluid, open-minded approach to alcohol and endometriosis, but now it's just a hard no for me. Here are a few reasons why. Several studies and reviews show that alcohol intake is a risk factor for developing endometriosis. So right off the gate, alcohol consumption equals higher risk of developing endo. I would say that that's a pretty good reason to avoid, or at the very least limit. Second, alcohol can raise estrogen levels. Endometriosis is an estrogen dependent condition, and estrogen is growth promoting. It's just that straightforward. Alcohol also negatively affects sleep quality, despite how quickly you may feel you're falling asleep after a few drinks, and it negatively changes the gut microbiome. Sleep is essential for optimal immune function, hormone health, and energy, all three of which are exceptionally important for living with endometriosis. There is a large body of research showing the connection between the gut microbiome and endometriosis, severity, and progression also. Negative changes in the gut microbiome following a few drinks can result in more estrogen cycling back into the body, more inflammatory species in the gut microbiome, reduced B vitamin synthesis, less serotonin production for better waste elimination, and much, much more. Alcohol is also preferentially metabolized through the liver, meaning your liver will stop all the other wonderful things it does for you to process alcohol from your body. This can also contribute to estrogen excess, nutrient deficiencies, and exacerbate symptoms like nausea, pelvic pain, swelling, brain fog, and low energy. The next food we should all be limiting, endometriosis or not, is highly packaged or processed foods. Unfortunately, we live in a world where packaged and processed foods are inexpensive and widely accessible. But these foods are not great for endo because of something called antigenicity. Let me explain. Endometriosis is primarily a condition of immune dysfunction, meaning the cells of our immune system, as people with endometriosis, don't function the way they should. Antigenicity refers to the ability of foreign or non-recognizable materials or man-made ingredients to bind to or interact with our immune cells or immune receptors. If you've ever looked at an ingredient label on a packaged food and couldn't read or understand some of the ingredients, it is this foreign materials precisely that can interact with your immune cell receptors and confuse them, resulting in autoimmune type reactions or symptoms. Here are a few ways we know the immune system is dysfunctional with endo and how a large intake of these packaged or processed foods can further contribute to this dysfunction. Firstly, dendritic cells are a type of immune cell involved in the initiation and regulation of the immune response. In endometriosis patients, the number of these cells is increased within the uterine lining and on and around endometriosis lesions. This can result in an over-exaggerated immune response, leading to more inflammation and can contribute to infertility or subfertility. These cells also contribute to the more aggressive spread and growth of endometriosis lesions. Treg cells, or T regulatory cells, are another type of immune cell that have a decreased ability to recognize and target endolesion cells, contributing to the survival and establishment of these endometriosis lesions. Overexpression of BCL6 in the fluid surrounding the pelvic organs is associated with endometriosis-related infertility and the development of endometriosis. So to summarize this, eating packaged and processed foods that include foreign man-made substances can increase the dysfunction in these already dysfunctional immune cells, leading to more aggressive endo spread, infertility, and increased survival of endometriosis lesions. And this is in addition to the environmental factors already known to worsen or contribute to endo, like exposures to BPAs, phthalates, dioxins, and PFAs. Okay, let's dig a little bit deeper into some of these conventional no-no foods. So you've probably heard a lot about dairy, gluten, and soy removal with endometriosis, but contrary to what you may have heard or read, not all people with endometriosis need to remove these foods. I do want to give you a few scenarios though where it may be worth considering removal. So let's talk a little bit about dairy to start. I do have a full-length video on dairy and endometriosis, which I'll link in the show notes below. So check that out for a more comprehensive, well-rounded discussion on this topic. I'm just gonna touch on it briefly and superficially here in this video. So a few scenarios in which you might consider dairy removal include an A1 beta casein allergy, lactose intolerance, a history with sinus infections, histamine intolerance symptoms, and or if you are highly hormone sensitive. So an allergic reaction to the A1 beta casein protein can and will generate a lot of internal inflammation, but it can also manifest in physical inflammation visible on the skin as blocked sinuses, airway blockages, or effects on digestive function like diarrhea, mucus, or blood in the stool, and uncomfortable gas, bloating, or sense of urgency. Despite the lack of research suggesting there is a strong link between IgE, food allergies, and endometriosis, it's still worth considering removal if you fit the symptom picture for an A1 beta casein allergy. If you experience hives, wheezing, itching, tingling around the lips or mouth, swollen lips, tongue, or throat, coughing, shortness of breath, vomiting, or extreme abdominal cramping or diarrhea with consumption of A1 beta casein protein intake, speak with your doctor about having this diagnosed. One alternative to completely removing dairy if you fit the symptom picture for somebody with an A1 beta casein allergy is to consume A2 dairy only. So A2 casein is found in dairy products from goat, sheep, camel, and certain breeds of cow, specifically Jersey and Guernsey. If you have difficulty digesting lactose, consuming dairy can lead to bloating, gas, and discomfort, which might worsen endometriosis symptoms. Instead of fully removing dairy though, for this reason, lean into fermented dairy, which is naturally low lactose, or supplement your diet with a lactase enzyme to help your body with breaking down that lactose sugar. Some dairy products are high in histamine, especially fermented dairy and aged cheeses. If you have aggressive histamine excess symptoms, consider supplementing with a DAO enzyme, but a temporary low histamine diet, including the removal of fermented dairy and aged cheeses, can be helpful. But the key word here is temporary. This is not a good, effective long-term strategy. You need to get to the root of what's causing the histamine excess symptoms. Dairy products can promote mucus production and/or thickening of mucus, which can exacerbate sinus issues. Mucus is produced in response to irritation and inflammation. So experiencing more mucus buildup is a physical sign that dairy may be contributing to body-wide inflammation. Some women may be sensitive to hormones present in conventional dairy products, potentially affecting their hormonal balance. Opting for hormone-free, organic, or plant-based alternatives can help in such cases. What about soy? So again, I do have a full-length video on soy and endometriosis. I'll link to that video in the show notes below. So if you're after a more detailed, comprehensive examination of this relationship, please check out this video because I'm only going to cover it superficially here. There's a long list of benefits to consuming whole food sources of soy, but two scenarios in which soy removal may be warranted is firstly with thyroid dysfunction or Hashimoto's, and with severe digestive dysfunction or nutrient deficiency. So I want to explain a little bit about why the latter makes this list. Soybeans are one of the most concentrated sources of phytates. Phytates can bind to other nutrients, preventing absorption and essentially robbing you of those nutrients. There is a solution here though, and that's to opt for fermented, sprouted, or soaked options. All three of these quick methods of processing significantly reduce the phytate content in soy. Miso, tempeh, natto, tofu, and soy sauce are already processed to make them nutrient-dense alternatives with much fewer phytates. Another general consideration around soy is that it is one of the most genetically modified foods in the world. It is estimated that around 94% of the soy produced in the USA is genetically modified to be resistant to the herbicide Roundup, which contains glyphosate. Even small amounts of glyphosate exposure can cause dangerous changes in the gut microbiome. So this is definitely something to consider if you're somebody who enjoys soy or wants to have it as part of your diet. Maybe just opt for those organic options. Going deep into this particular topic is beyond the scope of this video, but it is an important aspect to bring up when having a discussion about soy. That's the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, share with a friend, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.